chapter 14. I hope you are keeping faith and sincerely trying to hold your thoughts in proper channels. This chapter is a chapter of promise, good cheer, and concrete suggestion. Have you spoken a kind word today? Have you done a kind deed or performed an act worthwhile? I'm going to put down your answer as yes, and then say, aren't you happy because of your acts? While you were thinking of others, it took your mind off yourself. You know that your troubles are largely due to the fact that you have given yourself too much importance and used too much of your thought for your own selfish purpose. In proportion as you cultivate the ability to drop this selfishness in the matter of thought, you'll be able to free yourself from the tangles of world. You must think of others. You must consider them. You must do things for them. You must get yourself out of yourself, or you will be narrow, uncharitable, envious, and miserable. And the longer these conditions exist, the harder it will be to change your makeup. Think of your blessings, of the needs of others, of the opportunities to help them, and cut out envy. Slow down. Cultivate calmness. Do not push. Haste makes double work. Eliminate unnecessary moves. Avoid excitement so that your heart will work normally. I promise you great happiness and joy if you will follow these suggestions and do the things not simply from duty, but with enthusiasm, vim, and energy. As you go along, each day will be clearer. The clouds will pass as you grasp the sunshine truth. The ugly mental pictures will be replaced with pictures beautiful to look upon. Every day, worry will be lessened, joy increased. I promise you happiness in your heart, song on your lips, smiles on your countenance, and an ecstasy for the very life privilege which perhaps you formerly thought was not worth the while. Is life worth living? Asks the pessimist. Well, I guess it is. It is grand. It is here for your enjoyment. The plan of things is right. The world is getting better, and you are going to help in the uplift. We must have some clouds and sorrows, even as a dog has fleas. Clouds are here for a purpose. A little darky who was sitting on a curb, hitting his head with a stick. Asked why he did such a thing, he replied, "It feels so good when I stop." I understand those who live in the land of perpetual sunshine and uniform temperature get mighty tired of sameness. So, when the little annoyances come, consider them as trifles, and know that they come to you simply to accentuate the joys and pleasures you have. Here are a few capsules of optimism essence. Repeat these thoughts. Nothing can harm me but my thoughts, and I have control of my thoughts. I am going to look up, not down. I am here for a purpose. That purpose is to make the very best of conditions that exist. Sometimes I did not look at things rightly, but the world is right. I am to enjoy the blessing of life, and I am to help others to enjoy life too. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to promise myself that I will be pleasant until 10 o'clock anyway. Chapter 15. I make a guess that today averaged better with you than yesterday, because I feel sure each day is one of progress and that you are gaining in the control of your willpower and in the betterment of your thought. With this confidence and belief, we will get down to our little study again and see some more interesting things about the powers and uses of the brain under control of the mind, remembering that the purpose of spending so much time on the brain is to establish the fundamental truth which I am trying to weave all through this book, that mind is the master of matter. As you are in thought, so is the world to you. Your whole circle of friends, your home, and everything with which you come in contact changes aspect with every change in your mood or view. If the weather be dark and gloomy, you will not feel as joyful or optimistic as you do when the sunshine comes. The mind is the keynote to your feelings and controls your functions and your organs and your general health. You are what you think you are, and I shall show by illustration how true this is. You may be sitting at the table ready to eat, and your appetite is very keen. Let someone tell you bad news or bring you a telegram announcing the illness or death of a dear one, and your appetite instantly vanishes. Let someone tell a disgusting story or speak of disagreeable things, and your appetite flies away. You have often noticed how you turn away from your meal if someone near you clears his throat, or coughs, or blows his nose, or makes queer noises in eating. I do not like to speak of these things, but they illustrate so clearly how positively the nerves are under control of the mind, and will affect your senses, your appetite, and your enjoyment. Mind is the master, and you know it. The question, therefore, before you is, how to cultivate the mind so that it will measure up to its proper function in dominating worry, troubles, or ailments which bother you. There are some very helpful lessons or truths ahead for you, some of them pleasant, and some of them bitter pills for you to swallow. Do not be impatient. Impatience is one of the things which made you worry. We are going along comfortably, slowly, and surely, to make you patient. When you are impatient, you see things in a false light. You magnify trifles, you dignify non-essentials, and you befog the beauty around you. You remember as a child or youngster what horrible nightmares, bad dreams, and sleepless nights you passed following evenings spent in telling ghost stories, relating murder or robber tales. You recall how the rustle of the branches against your house, or the whistling wind or creaking hinge, suggested burglars, spooks, or other terrors to you. Your mind was feeding on fear thought instead of faith thought. You remember in the morning, when the sun shone brightly and you went into the open air, how differently things looked, and how much better you felt, for the horrible nightmare had passed away. There is an old illustration which shows how fear thought affects the mind and body. It is this: have a few friends by agreement posted that they will all tell a certain one on a certain day he is looking bad. We will call the subject George. George goes out in the morning in perfect health and in high spirits. He meets A, who says, "How pale you look, George." Then comes B, who says, "Are you ill?" And so on. The other actors in the play follow one after another, each one telling George he does not look well or asking him if he's ill. By the time 5 or 6 have made the suggestion of illness, George is really sick. As a matter of fact, he is sick because he thinks he is, and he thinks he is because the sick thought has been suggested to him so much that he believes it. A certain attorney purchased a new hat. One of his friends telephoned to other friends that whenever they met the attorney, they should ridicule his hat. The lawyer started down the street with his head up, with consciousness and comfortableness and the feeling that he was strictly in style and had a becoming hat, until he met a friend, A, who said, "Where in the world did you get that hat?" Later on came B, who said, "What's the matter? Have you traded hats with someone?" In turn came C, who said, "You've certainly chosen an ill-looking hat." And so, one after another spoke to the attorney about his hat, until he went back to his office, threw his hat in the wastebasket, never to wear it again. As a matter of fact, the hat cost $5. It was a good hat, it was becoming. But the constant suggestion of friends so worked on the mind of the lawyer that he was convinced his hat was attracting attention and did not look right. The foregoing illustration is not made to order. It is an actual occurrence which came within my observation. By brooding or thinking fear thoughts, you can work yourself into a bad state and really feel that ailments and ills are real, tangible things so far as you are concerned. Mind is the master, and your insurance against pullbacks is to see to it that the mind does master. If constant suggestion for evil makes you think evil, so constant suggestion for good makes you think good. Did you do a kind act today? Have you driven another peg in your ability to make your mind do what your will wants it to? Are you feeling more strength and confidence as these suggestions are made to you?